cooking up tonight? Well, I've got a lot going on. I have a pot behind me that I'm making apple butter in, but tonight's video is going to be how to make homemade tomato soup. So what I've done is I've got my onion, celery, and carrot chopped up. Then I'm going to put one of these vegetable bouillon cubes in with those vegetables. Here's my vegetables on the stove. 2 small bay leaves. And then about a cup or so of water. And I will bring this up to a boil and then I'll be putting the lid on it. The vegetables have come up to a boil. I'm going to give it a little stir. And I want to cook that until the celery and the carrots are soft. I want to dissolve the bouillon. I will keep this on a medium heat and check it in about 10 or 15 minutes to see if the vegetables are soft. While the vegetables are cooking, I'm going to prepare my tomatoes. I already had some that I had blanched, meaning I removed the peel by putting them in boiling water and then dipping them in ice water. If you are uncertain for how to blanch tomatoes, I will put a link in the description below showing a video where we are blanching tomatoes. Right now, I'm going to be chopping these up. You could do it in a food processor if you wanted to. I'm keeping all of that juice that'll become part of the soup. And I'm using orange tomatoes from my garden. You could, of course, use red, which would be much more traditional. Okay, what I've done is I've taken out one of the celery and a little bit of carrot, and I tasted it to make sure that it was soft. So it's soft, and now it's time to add the tomatoes. It's already smelling pretty good. This is going to come up to a boil, and then I'm going to simmer it until the tomatoes are mush. As you can see, the tomatoes are simmering, so I'm going to put the lid on it and let them simmer probably 15 or so minutes. I want the tomatoes to get soft, and the time would vary greatly based on the tomatoes that you are using. I want to give you a little tip. When I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich, of course this is vegan cheese, it doesn't melt real readily, so I put a lid on it and that helps enhance the melting. The tomatoes are very soft. I'm going to remove the bay leaves. The next step is using an emulsion or a stick blender. You could always just use a regular blender, or if you want the soup chunky, I guess you could eat it like this. The soup is all blended up. I just did a little taste test to adjust seasonings, and I'm going to add some black pepper, and I'm adding a little bit of smoked salt. The last bit of seasoning that I'm doing is I'm adding about a tablespoon of vegan butter. That, of course, would be optional. And many tomato soups have sugar in. However, I feel that this is sweet enough from the tomatoes. That could be a personal preference on your part. I'll plate it up and then I'll do an official taste test. Well, this episode of It's Vegan is just about finished. I wanted to show you the consistency of the soup. So that's the consistency. And I garnished it with some basil. That is such a delicious soup. I really hope that you will try it. It's just so good that I don't want to stop eating it. And that little tip that I was showing you about melting the cheese, you can see that it did melt. The lid really helps. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around on the camera. And then I also served it with some homemade dill pickles. Well, until next week, God bless you, and thank you for stopping by.